right now. And again, this is our team call for June 14th that are now on the Tuesday morning times. And this was something that how I choose what we're going to talk about is kind of one of those things that it's stuff that I see a lot going on, or I'm doing a 60-day Bible study devotional thing, and it really is bringing a lot of things to mind for me, just really thoughtful and gets you thinking. And so this is kind of a combination of this. This was one of my readings a week or so ago, was on regret, and it really, it just gets you thinking. And so I've done a little bit of research on it, and just kind of some commonalities with it. And I think that regret has so many parts to it. And so by really being able to look at the things that you're doing or the things that you didn't do, and being able to work through them and learn from them. And so rather than regret being a negative, or regret being really being an excuse instead, and how we can turn what is still, that regret can still have a negative feeling about it, but what you learn from it can turn into something positive, whether it's for yourself or how you work with others. And so I'm going to give you a few examples that I'm sure you all will have your own, but it'll kind of, I'm hoping to help you to reflect on some of the things in your life, or maybe the things that are going on, and how you use them for your future. So regret can be a noun or a verb, but the verb definition, it's you feel sad, you repentant, you're disappointed over something that has happened or been done, and but especially a loss or a missed opportunity. You regret doing something because you missed that opportunity. So there are lots of things that you could regret. I mean, you might regret getting a tattoo. You might, people regretting that they ate the cookies or the bag of chips. You left too late, and so now you left the house to your class too late, and so now you're late for class and you're scrambling around. And I can use that as an example with the four of you, because we're all instructors, and we know that feeling of it's all your fault. It's your fault. I mean, because I left late and I knew I could make all red lights. And so I should have given myself the opportunity, or made the decision. Missing a deadline. So you missed out. You missed out on registering for that. I earned the call with Brian Tracy, and it was last Thursday night, and we were celebrating my daughter's 18th birthday and having our family party, so I couldn't be on it live, but they have a recording. Well, I got the email with the link to the recording, and it said that it would expire on Saturday. Well, Friday was her actual birthday, and it was graduation, and I was on the food committee for the graduation party, and we had to work the party and didn't get home until 3:30 in the morning, and I didn't get to bed till 4:15, and my day was brutal, and I was just exhausted, and I totally missed it. And that was really important to me, and something that I had earned, but I missed that deadline because I hadn't put it in my calendar. I didn't really get on my computer that day to see that email, and had I put it on my calendar, then I would have remembered. I was tired. Sitting around and listening to something would have been a perfect thing to do. So I regret missing that deadline. Missing your workout. You set this snooze alarm, and dang it, I know myself, and I'm not going to go to work. Go work out at noon or after work, or by not getting up in the morning, and now I have this meeting, or I forgot that my son had practice, or he was carpooling and somebody else bailed on it, so now I'm the one that has to drive. So now you miss out on your workout. Had I gotten up earlier, then it wouldn't have mattered that this happened. So there's a lot of different forms of regret. Buyer's remorse. We've all had buyer's remorse. Bella, my dog, I had extreme buyer's remorse. She was $900 and some. We got her off Puppy Finder from Florida. We are not dog or pet people at all. And I just sent where you wire money from Walmart to this woman. And I'm thinking, I mean, I did it and I thought, oh my God, what have I just done? I've just been scammed. I'm not going to, or I'm going to get this dog that is flea infested and is not a cute little Maltipoo that whatever. And I was so scared. I was so scared. I called my friend who's a police officer and had him run a check on this woman. And I mean, I was scared. Now, Bella is honestly one of the greatest blessings that has happened in our lives over the last 4 years. She's brought something to our family and to each one of us personally that we never would have had. She was worth every penny, and I'm so thankful that I did it. But it was scary. Quitting. I have a story about quitting that I'm going to tell at the end, but there's things that we've quit and we think, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had stuck with that and not quit. I quit too soon. Our clients and customers and coaches, they deal with that all the time. In fact, I have a new group that I'm starting that I'm going to, I created my event banner last night and I'm going to start posting today, and I'm calling it Do-Over. It's a do-over. Because how many times do you I just want to do this over? How many times have my challengers thought, I just want to do it over? I mean, it was 3 weeks and I quit after 2. I just want to do over. I want to start over. I have 4 people that have messaged me recently asking when my next group is, because they want a do-over and they had kind of tapped out of the one. Some won't come back because they're embarrassed to do that. They're embarrassed to come and ask because they quit. And so that's something that we need to consider and appreciate in others, that we can help them through their regret and transition it into something positive. Not starting sooner. I wish that I had started sooner with my business. I do. I wish that that I hadn't put it off. I wish that I had trusted the systems with Beachbody and not relied on my own fitness knowledge, because that is not enough. So that's something that I kind of regret, not putting it off so long and thinking that I wasn't worthy to do these other things because I was just a hobby coach. But regrets are all behavior choices. That's all it is. A regret it's because you chose to behave some way and you regret it. And the characteristics of regret, there are 2 things that are important. First of all, it requires action. So it requires your behavior or a choice of something, but it also requires imagination, because you have to be able to imagine that you could have, that if you had made a different decision, you have to imagine that going into your class and being late for class because you left late, you have to imagine that had I left 5 minutes earlier, I wouldn't have been late. Had I started my business earlier, I would have be in a better position now. Had I not eaten that bag of chips and had a couple beers and then had cheeseburger and fries the next day, I wouldn't be another pound or 2 pounds overweight today. I wouldn't be feeling like this. So there has to be imagination to see that there was something different. A different choice would have produced a different outcome. There are several things. Okay, you guys, my phone does this all the time now. I am sitting here, I'm not even touching it. It's on the chair. And all of a sudden I get the doo-doo because Siri's picking up like I want her to help me with something. Seriously, it happens all the time. Possessed. All right, so what do we regret? The top 6 things that we regret. Number 1 is education. People wish that they had gotten more or spent more time learning. Education. Career. We wish that we had chosen a career that we enjoyed and looked forward to doing. Romance. Parenting. Yourself. Caring for yourself more rather than always caring for others. Putting yourself first at times rather than always putting others first. Leisure, we either failing to spend leisure time, like doing leisurely activities, or spending it wisely. So your leisure time might be playing video games or watching television or hanging out on Facebook or Pinterest or whatever, and not actually doing something that was more either productive, or you went out and saw stuff, like you had vacation and you didn't really do anything with your vacation time. You had an opportunity to go somewhere for the weekend, or maybe take a hike and see something beautiful, and instead you chose to stay home and not do anything because you felt tired or whatever. Now, I've put asterisks by the things that I feel our business is affected by these, that we can has an impact. With regret, we wish we had gotten more or spent more time learning. And that would be absolutely in our business, regretting that I didn't, maybe I wouldn't have quit my business, or maybe I would have gotten further if I had learned more about network marketing, if I had learned more about being an entrepreneur, if I had learned more about email responders. I know I need to capture these emails from people, but what does that mean? So educating yourself on learning more. I'm really struggling with people saying that Shakeology is too expensive, and so I'm not having any luck. Well, I should have learned more about the value of it, because it really is very inexpensive if you really pick it apart and know more. Career, going in, because you're not making enough money, maybe with your Beachbody business right now, then you're going to go and you have to start waiting tables or bartending or cleaning houses, or pulling shots at an espresso stand or something. So or you have an opportunity to get out of a career that you aren't really enjoying, but not really getting going or committing to this opportunity. Romance, I didn't really know how romance fit into Beachbody coaching. I would say you would have more time. I would say for every woman listening to this call right now or being part of it, that as far as romance, how you feel about yourself physically, how attractive you feel, how healthy you feel, definitely has an effect on romance. So I would say that being a product of the product would definitely have an impact on that. Parenting is a huge thing for me. That is probably would be my that's my number one thing that I don't regret about this business, because especially with my children now, my youngest just graduating from high school and going into college, my kids are amazing. They are, the choices that they make and how mature and how prepared they are, and how they're taking control of their lives and leading their lives in such a positive way. I know that if I hadn't been home with them and been a big part, and my children have been in on so many national calls and so much personal development, and so much of my time working with them, they're here, they're listening on, they're hearing my side of the conversation when I'm talking to other people. So I have brought my children into my career. I was just telling somebody the other day, we were talking, and I'm thinking, as far as my children, they can tell you what I do for a living. They can tell you they don't know every aspect of my day, but if I say I've got a meeting, they pretty much know. If I have a meeting, I can say I have a meeting with a new client, or I have a meeting with a new coach. They know what's going to happen there, versus my brother-in-law is the president of a title company. His kids can't tell you what he does. Dad's the president of a title company. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. But my children have learned, they've heard personal development, they've heard national calls, they've heard the side, they see that people struggle with things and they see how to overcome and how to handle it. It also is, it has allowed me to be 100% flexible with my schedule, with last week being crazy with all of the things with Miranda. The last few weeks with Miranda, I haven't missed out on one single thing, not one. And I being able to do more than most parents by being part of a committee and gathering food. I mean, that's not with her, but it's supporting something that's important to her. Self, by taking care of yourself, by spending time. Personal development is caring for yourself, helping others and feeling that you are contributing to positively to society and to other people's lives. And our business is a wellness business, so it provides that opportunity. And then leisure time, because we have a flexible schedule, and because we have an opportunity to have we don't have a ceiling on our income potential. We don't. We just don't. And I mean, not that it's going to come easy, depending on those goals, but there really isn't a limit to it. So those with the top 6, again, the asterisks are things that I think really we have an opportunity to not have those regrets that others might. What this is. Okay, so is regret good or bad? And it really depends on the specific thing. The negative impact that you see that it has on your life, that's how it's good or bad, and how significant is that negative impact. And the perseveration, that is when it's just this continuous negative loop. So when you are really focusing on this, like you just can't let it go, and it's just like you need to just let this go, this is really controlling your thoughts, that's when it's a bad thing. You need to find a release. You need to see what you need to get out of it. Move on. You need to move on. You need to figure out a way to move on. And so is it a bad thing if it's negative? Is negative regret, is that a bad thing? And I don't think it is. Again, this is with how you live with it. How are you going to live with it? What are you going to do with it? First, you have to admit, I regret doing that. And that's might be an apology. I regret doing that for somebody else. You admit and you recognize that you did it, rather than it being an excuse. And that's when I said earlier, there is a difference between regret and excuse, but I think they're very closely related. You have to learn from them. You have to take the bad and learn from it. So it's either I'm not going to make that decision again, or I'm going to help others to not make that decision again. So holding on to those negative feelings, remembering those negative feelings is not bad. I remember when I was 10 pounds overweight and feeling horribly about myself, I wasn't exercising. I was, eating pizza. I was drinking beer. I was whatever. So those negative, I regret doing that. I regret that that's the way I was living my life. That wasn't a very happy time, but I've learned from it, and I'm not going to do it again because I don't want those feelings again. You don't want those negative feelings. Make restitution if needed. So again, you need to apologize and fess up and hold yourself accountable to others. And the last thing is move on. And that might be moving on like, okay, I just need to let this one go. I need to forget that even happened. I'm sorry that I said that to that person, but if I keep feeling that pit in my stomach, that I hurt their feelings or whatever, I can't keep living in that past. I need to move on. And that's when it might be what's done is done. So it's done. and you need to move on. You know that will never happen again. Or what's done is done. That might happen again, and you need to be prepared for it. So putting it into perspective, putting regret into perspective. Here, number one, you need to remember that feeling. You do. You need reminders of how that behavior or choice made you feel so that you can avoid it, so that you don't do it again. And here's where also, it might not be remembering how you feel, but here also is where your imagination has to come in, that if I do that, I would probably feel like that. I haven't ever done it before, but I'm guessing if I did that, I would feel that. I have that. She's here, babe. Did you package your lunch? Mm-hmm. I have that when I look, when Cooper and I were having a meeting a few weeks ago, and the first thing that he said to me when we sat down for our meeting was, I'm feeling, and I mentioned this on last week's call, I think, he said, I'm feeling disillusioned with this business. And I just don't feel like I can sell stuff. I don't, I thought I was going to be helping people and doing stuff, and I feel like I'm just selling things. And on my way driving there, on my way to that meeting, I was driving and a woman pulled up to the stop sign in her SUV, and she had this hot pink, like, you can't, this is kind of faded, hot pink blouse on that was a button up with a collar, and she had just this platinum blonde hair, and she was big. She was very big, and her seatbelt just like cut her down, and her boobs were like rockets shooting out. I mean, it was just one of those things that your eyes could not go there. And the first thing in my head was I could help her, because I can see how she must be feeling, and I wouldn't want to feel like that. I've never been like that, but I could see I wouldn't want to be like that. I wouldn't want to, so I can help her. All I see is I can help. That's all I see, is that I can help. And that's where you do need to remember the feelings that you had, but you also can apply those things to what other people are feeling and have empathy for them. And there are different levels of empathy. There's different levels of maturity with empathy that we aren't going to talk about today. But that's a more mature way of thinking as far as being empathetic. You need to keep your goals and dreams in clear focus, absolutely clear focus. And here, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to listen to the National Wake Up Call yet, this week's yet, but I would like you to try to listen to it before this call. I know that's going to be hard for some of you. I had to change my schedule so that I could listen to it. Usually I don't listen until later on Tuesdays. But one of the things when she was telling her story was, I thought, so many of these coaches have come from, just not very happy lives. They didn't have any money. They had these little kids. Their marriage wasn't very good. They were living out of a car. They, did this. They were overweight. They were depressed. They were whatever. And Beachbody, this business, changed their lives. And that's how they became so successful with this. And I think that's a challenge for some. If the financial side of it isn't important, if you don't already feel that reward of helping people, and how much people just feeling healthy physically and mentally and emotionally, how much that changes everything in their life, and to be a part of a component of helping them get that is so rewarding. You can't put a dollar sign on it, to me. If people haven't experienced that yet, they're starting as a coach because it all sounds good and they're into fitness, whatever, they've experienced for themselves, but they haven't really experienced it for other people, then I think it's challenging. It's hard to push through the discouragement and to know which direction to take. So it's really important that you keep your dreams and your goals as a clear focus, because then the mistakes and the distractions and the discouragement and the failures and things, it's easier to move on when you know that I'm on the path. I just, the road was washed out, but I've because of the flash flood, but I need to get over to the other side. I got to figure out a way, because that's the way home. That's the way that gets me to where I want to be. And so you need to be a future thinker. You need to appreciate how the decisions that you make each moment and how you live your day each day matters. You can sit for a day that you think, I'm going to get a lot of work done, and just get lost shopping for sofas online, and every little link or everything that pops up or email that you get that there's 20% off today, and enter this code, and well, let me see what's on there. All these little distractions. That's one of the reasons that our Power Hour is very helpful. But if you can just get into the mindset of everything that you do is going to get you closer to your goals, or keep you away, or take you further away. And so that is where you're eliminating more opportunity for regret to occur by making those strides. I wish I hadn't backed off. I wish I hadn't slacked. I wish I had stayed engaged in that challenge group. I wish I had finished that training. So the choices that you make and the things that happen to you are what shape your destiny. Bad and good all make you who you are and have impact on your situation. So I told you I was going to tell you about a few regrets that I have, and I honestly could cry about these things because they're so, I regretted quitting softball. Softball was my sport, and I was very good, and that's what I played. And when I was a sophomore in high school, there was a freshman that beat me out at shortstop. So I was subbing. So I quit. And I was good. But if I wasn't going to be the number one, and I had a little adversity here, and I regret quitting softball. But the thing about regret is, if you're learning from it, and it takes, and yes, it's a bad thing. Yeah, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I wasn't a quitter. But because of those feelings, I don't quit. And my daughter had the same opportunity softball's totally her sport. She was on varsity last year, her junior year, and she never played. Third base, really good. Her club team played, she was like one of the best players on the team. She was really good, and she can hit it out, but the coach didn't play her. And she even went and talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I got to get you in more. He's just a doofus. I would have quit. I quit when I was Miranda. I quit. She didn't. And this season, senior year, she got moved to catcher because they had no catcher. She got all league catcher. All league. So she moves to a different position. She didn't quit. And she had a positive attitude about it. She didn't want to catch, but she did. That's what the team needs, so I'll do it. And I am so proud of her for not doing that. And there's something that we taught her, something about what I did when I was her age that I regret, that I have instilled in my children not to. Somehow I've taught them. And so now I'm going back to the parenting side of how we are parenting our children through the regrets that we had. I regret not going on an exchange my junior year in college. I was too scared. I was scared to leave home, and I was all set up to go to Boston and go to school for a semester. And I regret not doing that. I think that would have been an amazing opportunity, and I'm sorry that I didn't do it. But If I had gone there, I probably wouldn't have married my husband. My life would have completely changed had I gone my junior year in college. I would have been on the total opposite side of the country, and I could have met someone else. I could have gotten a job or done an internship or something there, made some friends. My life would have looked totally different. So I regret parts of that. And what I regret is that I was scared to do something. That's what I regret. I regret that I was scared and I didn't take a chance. But I don't regret that I didn't go to Boston, because I know that had I made that decision, I wouldn't be married to my husband, chances are. I regretted running 6 miles when I tore my meniscus. I had torn my meniscus. I had a slight tear, didn't know what it was, and it hurt and it was swollen. And I was a complete exercise addict at the time. And we went on a baseball tournament, and I was supposed to just sit for the weekend and not work out. Woke up Sunday morning, walked out of the bathroom with my running shorts on and shoes and my GPS, and my husband just looked at me, and he doesn't look at me with disgust or disappointment, really, ever. And he did that day. And he looked at me and he said, "I knew you couldn't do it." And it was just like, you need to rest. You are in pain. You're injured. Quit it. I decided but we were on the river, and it was beautiful, and it was a spring day, and it was nice there. And I decided I was going to run 6 miles, because I always did. Thought I'd run 3 out and 3 back. I got to 2.5 miles, and the trail was veering away from the river, and it wasn't as pretty. So I thought I'll turn around and then go back, and then I'll go half a mile past the hotel and then come back. So I'll go the other direction for my last mile. So at about 4 miles, 4.5 miles, my knee started really hurting, and I was, okay, what am I doing? My pelvis, what am I doing as far as alignment that's making my knee hurt more? And about 10 feet later, pop. And so I had a slight tear that I didn't know about, and the running tore it. I was in so much pain, it was horrible. And so I started kind of hobbling along, but walking hurt more because I had more pressure on it for a longer period of time. So actually jogging felt a little bit better. So I started doing this little shuffle jog back to the half mile back to the hotel. I got to the hotel and I thought, this is a pain that I can tolerate. I'm going to do my mile. So I went, and I did half a mile out and half a mile back, and I got back to the hotel, and I had to yell to my husband to carry me into the hotel, because I couldn't, looking at the curb, I couldn't put all my weight on my left leg, which was the one I tore, to step my right foot up. And then I thought, if I put my left foot up first and I have all my weight on my right, then my left is going to have to take all my body weight, and I can't do that. So he had to come and carry me inside. And it was the most excruciating pain of my life, sitting through a baseball tournament all day long with this big fat knee that I couldn't even walk on, and having to ride 3 hours in the car home. But if I hadn't torn my meniscus, I would not be a Beachbody coach today. Because there's no way I would have sold home workouts. But when I had surgery, I couldn't work out. But I had these Pilates DVDs that I had never even opened, and I put those in, and I could do some of the exercises, and I could skip them if I couldn't do them, and I could modify them, and I had this whole new appreciation for home workouts. And then Donna Meyer called me and said, "Kelly, I think you should do this." If I hadn't torn my meniscus, I would have said, I'm going to run 6 miles. No, I wouldn't know anybody that I could talk into doing a home workout. I had no appreciation for it. So I regret because of the pain, but I do not regret tearing my meniscus, because it was life-changing for me. So those 3 things I still feel them. I feel them. You can tell I still feel them, but they had such an impact on where I am today. And that's what you need to remember. And those are the things that you need to consider as far as putting your regret into perspective. So as a Beachbody coach, you have an opportunity to help yourself and to help others live a life of physical and financial health. Truly. We are part of a company that is designed to encourage people to change their lives for the better, both physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. And that's coaches and clients and customers. That's what it's designed to do. We are better physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally as coaches. And will disappointment cause you to give up? If disappointment caused me to give up, I would have quit 8 years ago. Because no one's ever said, sure wish I hadn't helped that person feel better and live a longer life. Nobody's said, sure wish I hadn't brightened that person's day, or dang, I hate that I love my career, or sure, I wish I wasn't in control of my work hours and how much money I can make. So it's really your mindset or your perspective. Are you holding on to the negative and not the positive? Are your efforts consistent enough to realize the positive? I made a post about Gunnar and his nutrition yesterday, and he stuck with it long enough to realize the positive. It wasn't just going through the motions and doing it randomly because he was lazy. He actually stuck with it. And now, yesterday, he felt it. He felt the change, what he had done. So these are the things. I have a 30-year class reunion this summer, and so does my husband. We both graduated in 1986. And I'm going to go to that class reunion, and I'm going to see a lot of people that look really old and that have had cancer and that have heart disease. They might probably some pre-diabetics or diabetics. I'm going to see a lot of unhealthy people because of the health choices that they've made. And I'm going to look, not that I look super young, but I know that I'm going to look younger than quite a few of them. And that's because of the health choices I've been consistent with. So I don't have any regrets about drinking Shakeology every day. I don't have any regrets about exercising regularly and not giving that up. My daughter graduated from high school on her birthday, and 100% of my time went to doing everything to be a part of everything. So I have no regret about the effort that I put into my business, what I've done, how I've overcome the discouragements that I still have on a daily basis. I am discouraged on a daily basis. My last 3 posts for challenge group invites, zip. I get my same old repeat people that, yeah, I want to be in your next group. Well, you're not new. I mean, not that I don't want to help them, but I need some fresh blood here. But I'm fine. I'm fine because I have faith. And my son is now the number 2 quarterback. He will play. He will. And he's in the Sun Belt. And I need to go to Louisiana 2 times in the fall. I'm going to go to North Carolina once. They play in Vegas, they play in Texas, and then Seattle, but I can just drive there. So I see my future. I saw my future with this business. I saw my future with my health. I saw my future with my children, and my why, my vision, my dream, because my upbringing was not good. It was abandoned. I was abandoned, and people weren't there to support me and love me and care for me and be there for me and make sure that I was encouraged and didn't quit, that it was going to be okay. My mom probably didn't even know that I quit. I don't regret my childhood because it has given me my vision for my future and what I want and what I get to have. And so by holding on to that, I see my future and I see the connection. I see how if I were working at a health club, if I were the group fitness director or the coordinator, there is no way I would be able to go to those football games. There is no way I could have been given my daughter several birthday parties and a graduation party and been there for the all-night party. I wouldn't have been able to do that, but I can basically go on vacation anytime I want. I see my goals. So my question to you is, what is your greatest hope and your deepest longing? Your greatest hope and your deepest longing, because with this business, with physical, emotional, spiritual, mental well-being, you can get anything. You can get anything just with faith and keeping your activities and your actions moving you toward your goals. So that's all I have for today. Would you like to discuss anything?
I miss you, Kelly.
I miss you too, Naomi. I really do. And this was longer than 30 minutes, and my goal really is to keep it to 30 minutes, because if they're too long, people won't be on. But does anybody was there anything that you want to share with other people? Looks like I have a typo there. You know, listening to this, is there anything that kind of came to mind, or you want to share?
Lots of things come to mind. It's a great topic, and I think if you really think about life and choices, that we can really, depending on the way that it's put out there, we can really help connect people to their choices and their regrets. And I like that you said it doesn't have to be a negative thing, because I have always seen it as a negative thing. Mm-hmm. But absolutely, the positives can be taken from it, and you learn from it, mm-hmm. and you make changes based on it. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a really great topic.
Well, and I think that, I mean, honestly, you guys, the behavior side of what we do is really the game changer. What we know about nutrition, that's all done for us. The nutrition, the fitness, I mean, we need to study that stuff, and know that if you're going to do a challenge group, well, use your challenge group guides, know about the program, know what they get, know what the meal plan's like. But it's pretty straightforward. And if you want to fine tune things and have something specific, that's kind of an easy call to Kelly, and how do I do this, or where do I go to learn more, or whatever. That to me just seems pretty basic. You don't have to know that much about, you don't have to be a group fitness instructor. You don't have to be. But on the education side, if that's an area that's where I really want to focus, though, I want to know more, I'm very interested in that, then you should. That's where you're going to regret not learning more. But the behavior side and studying that and being able to speak to the person individually, and I really hit this almost, I think, in every call that we have with the interview process. It's about talking to people. It's about listening to people and seeing where they are and helping them change their mindset, not living in the past and living with regret. My mom, every time we start talking about things, and we've have that conversation quite a lot lately, I quit. I was in a sorority. My daughter's going to go through Rush, and I was in a sorority. And after a semester, I quit. I became bulimic, and I didn't have any money. I had no money. So I was getting student loans, grants, had to work. I had 3 jobs when I was in college. When I was in grad school, I had 7. And I had to work all the time. So here I am. I went through Rush my sophomore year, not my freshman. So I already had good study habits. I didn't even know we had a TV room in the sorority till probably the first part of December, maybe dead week, when I had a little bit more time off because of classes being canceled and stuff. Maybe then we have a room with a TV in? Oh my gosh, because I was never there. So I never got to connect with my pledge class. So I felt, because I was working all the time. So all I got to do was study table, which I don't need study table. I already have good study habits, and I already did my homework at work. And I don't want to go at 9 o'clock at night when I have a test tomorrow, serenading to fraternities and having to compare my breasts to a fruit. If your breasts were fruit, what would they be? It was totally degrading. So I didn't get the good part of it. And we were talking about that, and that's one of the things that I don't want my daughter to have to work that much, because I don't want her to miss out on those things. I want her to be able to be a part. And my mom just had all this remorse, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't provide more for you. And it was like that. And I'm like, Mom, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because there were other elements of it that I don't regret that. I don't regret not having the money, having to work all the time, because I think that having to work all the time has really made me who I am. I'm a worker. I'm not a quitter. I'm a worker. I quit once, and I'm not going to quit again, because I know the feeling of quitting, and I know that perseverance is what matters. So people don't get that. If they don't have a connection, or if they haven't ever overcome something before, then we've got to show them. And I'm going to tell you, you guys, lately, for the past at least 4 weeks, I have been struggling with some of my exercise a lot. I mean, I just have this negative attitude. I walked out to go for a run Saturday morning, and I was dragging myself to get going. And I was walking out, I had my arms folded, and I walk a block first, and Gunnar was getting into his car to go work out, and he goes, "Going for a run, Mom?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You don't look very happy about it." And I said, "I'm not." But it's things like that that I have to go do it, because I'm asking other people to do it that want to do it less than me. And I have to do things because I have coaches that don't want to do it. And if I don't do it, then I can't ask them to do it. I have to set a standard. I have to show them that this is what you do. And you persevere. And I have I get as many no's as you do. For every person you ask, I've got the same percentage. My percentage rate is the same. I have people quitting. I have all sorts of stuff. So, but I also have my future. I have my goals, and I see that where I am, those 3 bullet points right there are because I decided to be a Beachbody coach, and I decided to do it. So I get that. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted that long ago. So I want to, some of the things that I'm doing is on the national call. If you haven't listened to it, Jeff is reading a book called The One. I believe it was called The One. I couldn't write it down because I was listening. I was in the car at that time. But, they talk about 21 days makes a habit, 21 days makes a habit, and science shows that that's not really true. It's 66 days. 66 days is the magic number, according to this book and the science that he was sharing with us. And so 66 days from now puts us at August 19th, which is right before NIC starts. So you have a little vacation. I think NIC starts like on the 23rd or 22nd or something. I don't know, that Monday. So that's when people will be going back to school. Whether you've got kids that are going to be in school, whether you're in school, it changes us. Our lives change when school starts. So I am going to commit for the next 66 days to my coaches. I'll still run challenge groups and things, but I am going to commit 66 days to whatever any coach needs. And if it means I need accountability, Kelly, I want to do a power hour with you 5 days a week, 3 days a week. We're going to figure out a power hour, and we're going to do it so that you have accountability. We're going to sit down and we're going to decide, what do you need to do? What do you want? And what is it? Where do you need to be spending your time for your education and your learning or your personal development or whatever it is? Why are you hesitating on sharing? Why are you struggling with finding this or that? We're gonna dial in specifically to what you need. I'm offering myself 100% for 66 days to whoever will commit for 66 days to building their business. You're not going to lose any money. You won't. You will not get sick. You are not going to lose any family member. You're not going to lose any friends. You're not going to lose anything. There's no loss. There's only the opportunity for gain in committing for 66 days to see what you can do. And So what could you regret by committing 66 days to really developing your business? So and that's a question I want you to think about. What could you regret by doing it? And what could you gain by doing it? And which one is going to have a greater positive impact on you? And so it's just going to be just dialing in, and that'll be a one-on-one call. And it might mean that we have a team, like the four of us. We're going to get on and we're going to do whatever. So it might be some team stuff, it might or individual stuff. And so that's my invitation to any coach. And I'll do a little Facebook Live on this too for those that don't listen to this or whatever. But then you just, so basically I'm saying the ball's in your court, because my door is wide open. It's an open house. And all you got to do is say, I'm in, let's talk, let's help me figure this out. And I want you guys to know I really appreciate you being on this call. It does matter to me a lot, and I appreciate it. And I guess I'm done. I'm done talking.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, you guys. And hope you have a great day. And maybe I'll talk to you in a little while. Bye-bye.